Aeolian Hall brings a lot of people together. I believe that there's some sort of magic in this place, and I believe that everybody that steps into Aeolian Hall for the first time will feel that magic.
The Aeolian Hall has quite a rich history in our community. It started actually back in the 1940s with a hall that burned down in the 1960s.
Clark Bryan bought the hall in 2004 and began the process of turning it over into a charitable organization. He's been able to do so much with starting El Sistema Aeolian, the Pride Men's Chorus, the Rebel Heart Collective, and again really raising that culture of excellence in East London.
I decided to launch a UNESCO and TED award-winning program called El Sistema here at the Hall. Wasn't sure if it was going to work in this community, but it's a free after-school music program for kids who would not normally have the opportunity to have an enriched music program.
A program like El Sistema has a huge impact on the youth in that it gives them confidence and it gives them the tools necessary to escape the poverty, whichever kind of poverty they're facing in all its different forms.
It's fun and very collaborative sometimes. People provide you a lot here.
I wanted to join because I really never got to be in programs like this because of my disabilities.
We have a wide range of socioeconomic backgrounds among our participants, so we have the opportunity for kids all over London from different backgrounds and ethnicities and family backgrounds to be able to be part of a team together without any of those barriers you might see with other traditional organizations.
Music to me is mostly my life because I love listening to it, and so joining this program made it better for me.
I already know 2 instruments. Wait, make that 3 because I know a bit of piano, violin, and a bit of recorder.
Some of the children are from refugee situations or they're immigrants. Just being around them and the joy that they have and learning from them has really, for me, been a personal growth.
Everything that I see in our programming, our education programs, is all about giving opportunities for people to be inspired and get different perspectives through art and culture. We launched Pride Men's Chorus London, what would normally be called a gay men's chorus in the rest of the world. We decided to open it up to men of all gender identifications. Its purpose is to enjoy music and through the experience of performance help open minds and hearts.
Clark and I just thought it would be a really good social experience for the kids to work together with Pride Men's Chorus. We first had that experience when we had a concert with Matt Albert and the men's chorus was singing backup.
The idea of the synergy between the men, many of whom were ostracized when they came out of the closet as gay men, and many of the children in our program, actually many don't have parents. So the idea of coupling up that socially has been a really remarkable thing for me, and we've already heard feedback about it and how it's positively impacting lives.
As soon as we heard and saw what potential that had, we said, we got to do this more often. So we have done it twice since. When people perform music in a group, it's more than just music. It's also a group expression.
Aeolian Hall is unique in what it offers to London in terms of the arts and culture, in terms of what it is doing within Old East Village, but also the greater community.
The musical productions are structured with a view to try to make music accessible to everyone, different kinds of music accessible to everyone. So there's jazz, there's classical, there's roots, there's contemporary, there's singer-songwriter. There are all these different facets of this great field of music, and we try and bring some of each into the Aeolian because they each have kind of their own demographic and their own audience.
We launched a new professional orchestra called Rebel Heart Collective, trying to change the lens on classical music and the access point to classical music.
I don't think we should distinguish between classical music and other kinds of music. I think that there's some barriers that are artificial that shouldn't be there. I know that the experience I have of teaching, I've been teaching for a long time, that I have students who say to me that music's made them a better person.
Being a classical pianist and coming from that tradition, I really believe that serious changes need to happen because it is still very much held in the hands of the elite in our society, which was never the intention.
Aeolian Hall is a really professional venue from the way that it's run, the ticket sales, the people that come here, they're all here to listen to music. They're music lovers. So for me, I always get the most nervous when I play here at Aeolian Hall because I feel like as soon as I step onto the stage, the people here are here for a show.
There is a kind of magical resonance to the place, and the moment you first make a note of music, it just rings through the hall in this magical way. And you know right away it's going to be an amazing concert. I hope Aeolian Hall is around for hundreds and hundreds of years. I think it's well on its way. I hope they keep the doors open and keep the music flowing because what they're doing there is very, very special. And I can't wait to see what's next.
So I sort of knew what I wanted from a performance hall, and when I walked into this space, I knew this is where I wanted our very first show to play.
You know, singing and making music is really important to me, but it's not all that music is about. It's about getting together.
When I play here, it always feels like I'm with friends. The hall itself is almost like a person to me.
There are all these facets in the Aeolian that are kind of bubbling away, and it's so different than most venues that you would see in terms of what they do. Here it's really limitless. It's a community in itself.
So I've never had a life without music. I can't imagine what that would be like. The hall is wonderful, the volunteers are fantastic, the people that are behind the scene, the ones that are working so hard at the bar, selling tickets.
The volunteer experience here is amazing. It's like extended family. Meet nice people and you become friends with lots of them.
We couldn't survive without the volunteers. The volunteers are the core of Aeolian and El Sistema. There's very few paid positions, so we really rely on the volunteers to do all the other jobs and make the hall run.
This place has a long history of being the center of its community, and I think because of Clark and the people that work here and volunteer here, it continues to have that role in this community.
The Aeolian Hall, it needs volunteers because it's a community centre, a focal point. It needs people who believe in what's happening.
Aeolian has grown in that when I first came, there probably were, maybe half a dozen, 10 shows in a month. Now, some months we can have a show 5-6 nights a week.
The future of Aeolian Hall, in my vision, is strong and bright, and it continues to grow more and more as a place where people come to have their soul nurtured in the performances that they experience.
I feel that we're an organization that's open to change and experimentation and risk-taking. Every program we've launched here, every step we've taken, we've never had the money to do it. Unfortunately, the majority of the world does not work that way. The majority of the world is paralyzed in fear and is not willing to take risks. So we hope to set an example of achievement through risk-taking as a really important role that it's maybe not one that people think of first and foremost, but the story of the Aeolian is basically against the odds.
If somebody is doing something good and it works and it's the right thing for the community, you can't not support it.
It's all about values in the end. It's all about who we are as people. We sometimes lose sight of where we're going, who we are, what we believe. And if the Aeolian can act as a catalyst to remind us of that, that is really in my heart to be at the foundation level for what we do here.
Julie, so great to see you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I'm so looking forward to learning more about you.
It is my pleasure, honestly, Clark. I'm very excited about this.
I'd love to go back and find out what got you the bug for music.
I think it happened in utero. My mother was in musical theater, and my parents both love all manner and sundry of music. But my dad grew up in New York with jazz, and mom grew up with musical theater. And then mom came home one day with 2 records that changed our household. One was Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66, which blew my mind, and I still think it's one of the hippest albums ever. And then she brought home Beatles and Marian Makeba singing Pata Pata. And like these recordings, we used to play them all the time. We'd be, cleaning house and vacuuming. Mom brought home Booker T and the MGs doing Green Onions, and she taught me how to dance and, do the Chicago bop. And I don't know, it just changed everything. Like I'd grown up with jazz, which was great, and classical music. My father's big into Holst and loves Bach and Mozart. And one of the first recollections I have of live music in concert was Holst's Planets. And it was one of those concerts for young people. And my Aunt Eva, God rest her, took me to the symphony. We got all dressed up. I had a crinoline on, patent leather shoes. You would have loved it. It was gorgeous. Anyways, we were listening to Jupiter. And looking back on it, I think that's when I started like completely suspending disbelief when I become immersed in whatever art I'm involved with. So here I am at about, I don't know, 5, listening to Holst's Planets. And at the very end, I'm standing up in the seat of the concert hall, looking around all over the place. And the lady sitting next to me was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "He's got to be coming. Where is he? Where is he? I don't see him." Look at all emotional. And it got me. I was so certain I would turn and look up the aisle and see Jupiter walking down the aisle. It was amazing. And I realized then I was kind of hooked. But my mother realized we were in trouble when she says, I used to hum when I nursed, which is not that unusual for babies, but I hummed when I nursed. And we lived in Germany at the time. And my mom was feeding me, and we were listening to the hi-fis. We had an old Grundig. Anyways, listening to the hi-fi, and my mother realized I was humming in key to what she was listening to. And so she walked over and changed the channel to see what I would do. And I changed keys. Wow. And she realized, then she told me, she sat down with my father and said, she is going to be a lawyer or a doctor. She is not going to be a musician. and the best laid plans of mice and men, gang after glee. But yeah, that's when my mother realized I had pitch, and she was determined that I would not have to live that life, because it was it was the antithesis of what, nice Jewish girls did. Right. But yeah, just connected with music probably in utero.
Wow. And so you kept that going even through your career. Like, how did you do that?
I've just always done it. I mean, when I had my first professional gig when I was 14, and it was playing my guitar, singing, songs of protest and, blowing in the wind and all of that stuff, at my parents' friends' parties. And they'd sort of trot me out and I'd play, and they'd give me $25 and I'd go away. And I kept playing, and it started out of folk music, right? Just folky stuff, and what things I could manage to figure out on guitar. I'm a profoundly mediocre guitar player, which is why I am so grateful for people like Kevin Barrett, because I realized I could practice and practice for the rest of my life, and I'd still be a profoundly mediocre guitar player. So I just, but it was 4 or 5 chords, and I was good, and kept playing, and then started playing with bands, and played all kinds of music with different bands, for country and rock and all manner and sundry. And then when I was at university in Wisconsin, I basically got blackmailed into learning jazz. I had no intention of studying jazz. Jazz is hard. I thought, you got to read music, you got to know theory, you got to do all that stuff. And no, hell no. And, can I say that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And when my dean and my faculty advisor basically duped me into studying jazz with Richard Davis, who is one of the great jazz bassists ever, in my humble
What were you
opinion.
studying while you did that?
Political philosophy and macroeconomics. It was the second time I'd been to university. The first time I'd been to university, I had been studying biology because I wanted to be an astronaut.
Okay.
And I wanted to study, and I was in school early. I was at university early, and I wanted to study biology and fledgling genetics because I wanted to be a xenobiologist. I really wanted to be an astronaut. I really did. And and I realized I was just about done with my undergrad. I was just about midway through 17. And no, I was almost 18. And I realized that to be an astronaut, I was going to need a PhD. And that would take me at least until I was 24. And oh my gosh, when you're that age, it's so old. And there were also not programs then that supported women in science or accelerated students. So instead of saying, kid, we're going to hold your space, take 2 years off, figure out what you are, who you are, grow up a little bit. Because I was just head down and studying. And I left school, and I never finished that degree, but the science stayed in my brain. And so when I got to the University of Wisconsin, I just basically said, I'm just going to take courses till I find something I like. I'm not going to take a major until I absolutely have to. And I had this affinity I just loved studying these thinkers and discussing them and figuring out how they'd reason things and what their logic was. And I have a weird brain, Clark. I've got a very strange brain that way. And and I was going to be an environmental attorney, an advocate. And in the meantime, behind the scenes, my dean and my faculty advisor were like, no, she needs jazz training, because I was singing on the radio to help pay my way through school.
Wow.
You know, doing folk music and singing in rock bands and R&B bands and, you know, anywhere I could, and cooking. Like, those were the things that got me through university. And
wait a minute. Cooking?
Yeah. When I first left school the first time, I had to figure out a way to feed myself. Right. And I figured if I got my chef's credentials, I'd always be able to eat. So I apprenticed. This is before all the fancy schools. I apprenticed under a chef and got my toque the old-fashioned way, right? And it was great fun. I mean, oh my goodness. Everybody should learn how to cook well. I mean, it's so fundamental to health and wellness and happiness, and, you know, but so I was doing all of this stuff, and my faculty advisor called me in one day and she said, you need to take a class outside your major, and I think that you should take this Black music history class with Richard Davis. And I went, okay, sure, why not? Okay. I figured it was a joke, right? It was a joke class. It was no big deal, right? And I get there, and I have to have an interview with this professor to take this class. It's like, what? So I go in, and I'm pretty full of myself back then. You know, I'm on the radio, I'm in a couple bands, you know. And he had his back to me. And I remember walking in, he said, you Julie? I went, yeah. He said, you want to sing? I said, no, I'm here for the history class. He said, hit a C. I said, pardon? He said, hit a C. And I knew one key on a piano, one key, and that was a C. So I start walking over to the piano. He said, no, just hit it. And I guessed, and it was a C. And he said, you've got perfect pitch. I said, I don't know what that means. He said, can you read music? I said, no. He said, well, you're going to have to. I said, for a history class? He said, no, you're going to be singing with the jazz combo. I said, the ensemble. I said, no, sir, there's been a mistake. I don't know anything about jazz. I'm studying philosophy. I'm going to be an environmental attorney. No, he said, if you don't, and he turned and looked at me, he said, if you don't take this class and sing with the ensemble, then then I will fail you in your history class. And 2 fails will ruin your chances of continuing your partial scholarship. And I went, you can't do that. He said, yeah, I can. And I went storming off to my advisor, Ernestine, and she went, no, he can do that. I said, what did you do? She said, you're going to learn how to sing jazz. I said, I don't want to sing jazz. I'm perfectly happy. She said, no. Woody and I agree. I said, the dean. She said, yeah. I said, don't you guys have lives? Like, haven't you anything else to do? And she said, no. And so I started singing, and it was terrible. It was miserable. My first concert was the most traumatic thing one of the most traumatic things I've ever been through. It was terrible. The entire ensemble was forced to play a song with me for the concert, the opening. And we were given 2 weeks, and everybody was told, you must play a song with her. I didn't have any idea what to sing. I had no repertoire, nothing. One combo out of all of them worked with me and played in the key I could sing in and rehearsed. None of the others actually did that. And they basically had gotten together over beers and decided they were far too good to play with a singer. Right? And they basically planned to destroy any chances I had. And so they did things like they'd change keys in the middle of a song without telling me. Or this is in performance. They and the best was the last song of the night. They wouldn't change keys. So I was singing 500 Miles High in Flora Purim's key. Flora Purim is a soprano. You know me, bro. Clark, I am not a soprano.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. And I was having to hit ridiculous notes for me. And the last, but the killer was Night in Tunisia. And they didn't stop. It's a very difficult song until you know it, right? Mm. And they didn't wait for me. It took me longer to get in than I should have. And they just plowed right through me, just rolled right over me. It was devastating. It was terrible. And at the end of the night, I bowed with everyone else. I grabbed my purse and I walked home, bawling my eyes out. I was devastated, humiliated. And I decided the next morning when we did the postmortem in ensemble, I would politely leave the class. And Richard walked in, ready to just kill somebody. Seeing Richard Davis at a full boil is a frightening thing. And he chewed out everybody. He said, the one combo that worked with me, he said, you guys have an A. Go away. Get out of here. Don't want to talk to you right now. And I'll see you for your lessons, right? And the rest of them, he told them he was ashamed to be their teacher. He was appalled at their behavior. He basically, he failed them all for that first concert and canceled all their lessons for the week. And I mean, this is a big deal. This man played with Sarah Vaughan and Count Basie and Eric Dolphy. Like, he's a legend. And he basically, he said, get out of here. You shame me. Get out of here. And I was sneaking out and he very quietly said, you stay. And then in a very private setting, he chewed me a new ass. He just ripped into me. He said, you never let anyone do that to you. He said, you can't. I said, no. And I'm bawling my eyes out. My eyes were so bruised that I had shades on because they were bruised because I'd been crying so hard. And I said, I'll leave. I know I'm out of my league. I get it. I'll take another year in school. I'll just deal with this. It's okay. I'm out of my league. I'm out of my depth. I shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't have come. He said, no. You're going to sing. You're sticking it out till the end of the semester. And you will be the stage manager for every production we do from now until end of semester. You will learn this. And you are going to study with me. And you are going to sing jazz. God is my witness. And I went, please? He said, no. And I cried some more and I left. And by the end of the semester, things were looking up a little bit. And I passed all my classes. And I studied with him for 6 years. And it ruined my career as a lawyer. I never went to law school, much to my father's chagrin and dismay. But yeah, and
there's
after
something
that,
that occurs to me in this, though, that's very interesting. I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but you kind of went with the currents of your life, right? Like,
yes.
You didn't follow this pathway that was clearly set out for you, right? You didn't, whatever voices were coming at you, you have to do this, that, and the other thing. You kind of listened, but didn't. That's what it sounds like. So how is it that you think you formed in this way to be able to have that kind of independence to navigate the way you did? Whereas some people, I remember talking to this Jewish doctor that had studied piano with me once, and he said, you know, I always wanted to do music. My parents wanted me to do medicine. And he came back for lessons late in life, and he was not able to make that navigation. So what do you think is there that allowed you that?
I'm not sure. I mean, I have been blessed with really remarkable people for parents. Now, everybody's parents are picnics for Freud. There's no question. And mine are no exception. But my parents said, don't travel with the pack.
Okay.
Figure out who you are, know who you are. I mean, I asked them about religion. They gave me the Quran, the Torah, and the King James New Testament. They said, read these, get back to us. But that's the kind of people they were, right? And when I came back after a year to give them my analysis, because I was an exceptionally homely 13-year-old. And so I read everything and took notes and the whole bit, and came back, and they said, you got to figure out if you believe in a God, and then how you want to speak to it. It's none of our business. This is between you and it. But also it was the same thing. It's like fashion is nonsense. And though my parents are fashionistas, but it's like, they say, you figure out who you are and take it from there. And my mother is one of those women who, I mean, my dad was stationed in Germany. We were living in Germany. She had a radio show, a bilingual radio show for kids on German radio, right? In English and in German. My dad was, he did his own thing. He climbed the corporate ladder, but he also would do things like he grew a beard back when one didn't do that, when one was an executive, stopped wearing ties, like started just rabble rousing. My mother was in League of Women Voters in the States, was really politically active, had lunch with Bella Abzug, that kind of thing, right? So I have sort of trailblazing parents, and my sisters are also remarkable women, younger sisters who are just kick-ass. I guess we were all sort of a group of nonconformists, and we moved a lot when I was growing up. So the family becomes quite the hub, and that sense of be who you are, because we moved around too much to always be fitting in with people. You just couldn't. So you had to fit in with yourself. So while my parents really wanted me to do this and live a different life from what I was doing, I don't know, I think I was just a stubborn, cantankerous kid. I mean, I'm still stubborn and cantankerous. I don't think that changed. And I worked a day job for years and years and years, a suit gig on Bay Street, for God's sake. And, but always did this. Just, it's how I speak to the universe.
Well, you and I have a conversation ahead, because this is fascinating to me about, the environment in which children are raised, to allow them to have this sense of, empowerment to find their destiny rather than to live vicariously through their parents. I have a mother who I played for years with a French tenor who was Jewish. And he met my mother and he said, your mother is way more Jewish than mine. And so, the guilt and I was supposed to be a doctor and all that kind of stuff.
I hear you.
Yeah. So, but somehow in all of this, I think I had contrast, because my dad, who had 2 PhDs, just wanted me to be happy. He didn't care about the, and my mom is like, you've got to get the PhD. You've got to, you know, when I finished my master's degree, I was hired by the university. I was off to concerts in Europe, and she invited me in the music room and said, you know, everyone's always said you have so much talent. When are you going to do something with it?
Oh man, your mother. Yes. Listen, I go on tour, and my father still says, so they're paying you for that, right? You're not paying for your own tickets. This isn't coming out of your pocket. Papa, I'm playing with the Cairo Symphony Orchestra. I'm not paying for anything. And they're also like paying you for the performance. Yes, Papa, they're paying me for the performance. You know, it's funny. They're proud of me, but they don't necessarily understand it. And that's okay. That's okay.
But they're supportive all the same, right?
Yes and no. Like it's interesting. They are, again, I mean, I love them. They're picnics for Freud. They're Jewish parents. And they came up through, I mean, my grandparents came over in the bellies of boats, right? And didn't know the language and had nothing and made lives. And my parents went to universities and got multiple degrees. And, you know, Dad became an executive, and Mom was known on the floors of the legislatures. And like, she became a nurse when she was in her late 40s. She became one of the first nurse practitioners in North America. Like, I come from a family of, I don't know if maverick's the right word. They're lippy. My family's lippy. But it's also, I have a great uncle, Sam Gompers, who helped start the garment workers unions. My late uncle Phil, was at one point in his life Trotsky's personal secretary and bodyguard. We get involved with things. We are left of center, and we get involved with things. And so whether it was a conscious message my parents gave me or not, it was understood. Does that make sense?
It does, but I still think we have this big conversation ahead. So
I think wine needs to be involved in that conversation.
Wine involved for sure, and maybe some food. I want to talk to you now. So just let's leap back forward a little bit in terms of music. And I know did you not sing at Jack Layton's funeral?
I did. That was a great honor. I had that honor. Yes.
You know, I got to spend a day with Jack when he came down for a by-election rally at Aeolian Hall. And we played the piano for each other. And I was just so inspired by him as a person. Did you have any personal connection, or like?
Just a little bit. He would periodically attend the Metropolitan Community Church of Toronto, where it has been my privilege to work with their choir and sing for them over the past 30 years. And but also, and I got to know him through that environment. And I remember I was studying for my Canadian citizenship, and Jacques found out about it, and he said, "So you're studying for your citizenship exam?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Why are you becoming Canadian?" I said, "Because I believe that it's important to be a good citizen. And to be a good citizen, I can't simply take advantage of the culture in which I'm living. I have to be active politically. That is part of good citizenship." And he said, "You're going to vote NDP?" I said, "You're going to give me an election?" And he helped me. He'd quiz me before the exam. And I got my citizenship, and he called the election, and he died.
I know. You know, it's the first time I heard you sing, actually, was on TV. and maybe it was on YouTube too, was with the choir, and I thought, who is that? It was amazing.
Thank you. Well, it was hard because that wasn't supposed to be a state funeral. It started out, it was just going to be a funeral at the church.
Right.
And we were all emotionally prepared for that. Well, no, we weren't, but we were.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then it exploded, right? And all of a sudden it's national television, and we've got all these, we've got Stephen Lewis, and we've got all these incredible people coming to speak, and it turned into this incredible event. And all I could think, I'd already told Olivia and the kids that I could not look at them. Don't expect me to make eye contact, because I knew it would be hard. Mm-hmm. Not to mention the music we were playing was very emotional music for me. And, Come Together Right Now was Jack's choice. I'll show him. And then we mashed it up with a marvelous piece of music that Shelley Hamilton and Diane Leah, who is just retired recently from the MCC as the music director, but also is like Dora nominated, and remarkable woman, and a spectacular composer and accompanist and arranger. And she and Shelley had written Connected, which is an anthem if ever there was one. And she mashed it up and wrote this beautiful arrangement. And luckily, Roy Thompson Hall was full, so I could sing in the round. So I just kept moving and looking at everybody and not looking at anybody, because if I had eye contact, I'd lose it. But right before I went on stage, I see a bunch of guys in serge, in uniform next to me. And I went, it's about time they gave the chick singer an honor guard, because that's how I deal with stress, right? I make fun of things, usually myself. And then I looked at the sergeant major's face and I went, oh my God, you're going to move him right in front of me, aren't you? Because his casket was on the stage. And he said, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I said, no. Mantra I kept saying in my head was, just breathe, keep breathing, and say the words. You don't even have to sing them, just say them. And I got through, and they moved him, and I got 3/4 of the way across the stage before I completely lost it and just started crying. As you may notice, I'm really kind of emotional about a lot of things. And I literally just started sobbing as I got off the stage. And God bless her, Alana Bridgewater, who was also singing that day, who is an insanely talented singer, and a good friend, was literally waiting for me because she knows me so well, just standing there, all 6 feet of her with her arms open. And she caught me and took me back to the dressing room, where I had to clean up, put my makeup back on, change clothes, get into a cab and go to a wedding that had been booked 2 years before and sing.
Oh,
it was insane.
God. Oh, that's horrible.
It was schizophrenic. It was insane. And I did it. And then I got home and I slept until noon, which is unheard of for me. Like I said, I wake up at 6 automatically. Slept until noon. I was just out of it. I was so drained. But I'm very proud of what everybody did that day, because we were all shattered.
Can you imagine what it would have been like if he was prime minister? I mean,
I'd love to have seen that.
He was the most respected politician, I think, of all time.
Yes, he was our Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
He was
better than Kennedy, in my
well,
opinion.
he wasn't a womanizer, and he wasn't, this and that and the other thing. But yeah, he inspired the way really nobody had. And I do believe we could have weathered some storms. What was interesting was at the time I was working at a financial institution on Bay Street, and I go back to work on Monday in the belly of the beast, literally. And I'm walking from the subway through the corridors, and I'm having people stop me and say, "Hey, I saw you. Oh my gosh, that was you." And I'm thinking, okay, this is not what I'm expecting. And that morning, I had to have a difficult conversation with someone who worked for me. And so we went downstairs, and we got Tim Hortons and coffee, and we sat in and this woman, as I'm standing in line, is staring at me and staring at me and staring at me. And I'm thinking, did I date your brother? Do I owe you money? Like, what? Why are you staring at me? And she looked at me. She went, and she was Hispanic, right? This needs to be clarified up front. And she goes, "Jew." And I went, seriously? Seriously? Really? Really? She said, "Jew sign for yak." Jew were wonderful. And I just went, oh my God. Oh my God. This is going to follow me for a while. And it was just a very strange experience. Right? It was a very strange experience. And I remember the fellow I was working for, my senior executive, said, "So I saw you sing at Jack's funeral." I said, "Yes." He said, "I never liked him." I said, "Okay." He said, "He didn't know anything about economics." I said, "Yeah, the PhD in economics did him no good at all." And he just looked at me. I said, "We don't discuss this anymore." He was my friend. He said, "I overstepped." I said, "You overstepped." I said, "But let's move on." And that was the only negative comment I ever had. And it wasn't about the event. It was about the man, which I would not permit. Yeah. It was a privilege. And it's still humbling to think about it. It changed everything.
I feel like I could talk to you all day, and I know we have
I
both
got
things
you.
to do, but
I know.
I want to move just a little bit forward again, and just maybe finish off with talking about the last couple of years and what this has been like for you as a person, as a musician. If you have any words of wisdom that coming through this, or as we continue to go through it.
That would imply that I'm wise, and I do not think I am.
I don't know about that.
Nah. Well, it's been a really, it's that old Chinese curse, "May you live in interesting times." And dare say we are living in interesting times. Things were starting to move in a really positive direction when just before in 2019, I had gotten new management. We were starting to make plans. There were tours being planned. Ta-da. And then this hits. And it was sort of like, oh, crap. And then it was, okay, what can we do? What can we do with this time? What can I do with this time? If this is enforced seclusion, then how do I want to spend this time? And there were a bunch of things, other than learning how to bake, which was a big deal. But it was figuring out where I wanted my music to go. It was giving lessons and master classes and workshops around the world on Zoom. It was, which is difficult for me because singing vocalization in general is a very physical thing. And I move people around, I adjust their jaws, straighten their backs, work on, where they're breathing and all of this stuff. And I can't see that. So I had to rethink on some levels how I taught and how I coached people, and mentored them through their progressions. I was also, though, giving concerts at festivals all over the place, right? But Kevin Barrett and I did a concert in Turkey, a jazz festival in Turkey. He was in his house and I was in my house. And it was so bizarre because Kevin and I are old friends and we've been playing together for a long time. And that connection, I hope, is palpable. And all of a sudden it wasn't there. Or singing with the Metropolitan Community Church choir virtually, which was an incredible challenge for me because I had to lip sync. Milli Vanilli, I'm not, right? And lip syncing was just never my thing. And it was bizarre. It was surreal. But those services that we did together, the choir and I, were remarkable because you get all these people on their phones or on their laptops singing their parts. And then Jason Jestad, who's the music director at Metropolitan Community Church of Toronto now, who's tremendous, he's a great guy and really good at what he does. He took the technology and blended all of this together and made it work. And we could reach people. It was amazing. Do I ever want to live through this again? No, hell no. Did it change how I see the ability to translate music across miles and miles and clicks and oceans and oceans? Yes. And we can do that. And I am more committed than ever to the universality of making music and what that means to a world in flux right now. I mean, the world is always in flux. It is the nature of living organisms to change. It is one of the ways we prove something is alive, right? In science, you can see change. But international culture, music culture, is changing because of technology. And while it will never take the place, with respect, I don't know if it'll ever take the place of being able to sit with an audience and have that very personal, very intimate connection, that it's a holy thing. It is a holy thing to connect with an audience, to look out and see that one face that needed to hear that song and know that happened. That's communion. That's community, right? It is a remarkable experience. Going forward to what was just done and what we're going to see tonight at Aeolian Hall, while the audience wasn't in the room, Christoph was. And our video, between sound and videography, I had an audience. I had two really lovely men who were committed to being there. And if this past few years has taught me nothing, is connection can be had through this medium, through a virtual medium, if you're open to it. It means exposing yourself. But music, when, in my opinion, when music is executed, not executed, if it is exercised in a way that is truly open, you will reach people. You will have an impact. Why else do we play music? But to connect with other people, right? And I found myself connecting with people all over the world in a way that I hadn't before, and getting feedback. You know, social media drives me crazy on some levels. And I don't think I'll ever totally understand it, but I was getting feedback from all over the world. I got really good at Google Translate, right? And it was just what people said and how it made them feel was, again, humbling. I don't know how you feel about this, but I do believe that music is truly a universal language. Mm-hmm. And it can be so personal, and it can be so spiritual, and it can drive a part of you that you didn't even realize was there to blossom and to be heard. And that is a remarkable experience, especially when you realize you're not doing it all yourself. Like, you're really not. You know, when I can close my eyes and leave, and I leave and I get played, and all I'm doing is breathing, and something else makes the sound and the music and the improvisation. And I know in the back of my brain, I'm going, man, that's amazing. I don't know who's doing that because I don't know how to do that. But something does. And that reaches through the technology when I'm lucky. And it humbles me. And it makes me so happy. It's just the best thing in the world. You know this. You're a performer. You're a musician. You know.
I've been doing the same every night on YouTube since the pandemic. I've recorded like 800 pieces of composers I've never even heard of, and connected with people in Japan, Russia, everywhere. You know.
Yeah.
And people send me ideas. They give me feedback about the pieces. I even got a student in Portland who's the CEO of CollegeNet, a big corporation, and I love the work he's doing on diversity. And I know exactly what you're talking about. It's opened a door that I had no idea what the possibilities were and can be. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a friend, Mariti, who's done the same thing. She's a singer and a songwriter and an instrumentalist and just a fine person. She's an incredible person. And every night at 8:00, she's on Facebook, man. She's playing, and so lovely. And it's a conversation. You know, she's got the chats going and the whole bit, and it's amazing. It's marvelous. But also to play, I don't know, it's just, playing music is just the most fun you can have in public, you know, other than a really good meal with friends. And it is the most challenging thing you can do if you're serious about it, if you really commit to it, not just intellectually, but emotionally and spiritually. It is, yeah, I will never lose this love. It is the greatest love I've ever had, you know, and I'm grateful. It sounds weird, but those 2 years gave me a chance to stop and take stock, you know. Going back to Bay Street is simply not in my plans ever again. And how I go forward is anybody's guess.
I love it. There's so much wisdom in everything you've just,
Thank you.
said, and I can relate to it, and I'm sure many of our listeners can too. Julie, I want to thank you for part one of what could be a long sequel of chats. I found it personally so satisfying, and really enjoying getting to know you a bit more.
Well, I've been wanting to do this for ages. Just talk to you.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you again for this. And I'm really looking forward to the music. And let's get you back on stage with an audience very soon.
I would love that. I will always be available for the Aeolian Hall. I think what you've done by rescuing this building and turning it into the facility it is right now is remarkable. And if anybody out there has never been in Aeolian Hall, the concert space is like a living thing because it's old and the plaster reacts to the weather and to the humidity, and the acoustics will change and become not better or worse, but different. So it's worth coming in. I mean, just for the record, when I sing in Aeolian Hall, it's as much about playing it as part of the instrumentation of a piece. So thank you for saving this marvelous venue.
I'll keep trying to save it for the future.
Oh,
and ongoing effort, I'll tell you.
I'll do anything I can to help you.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Julie.
It's wonderful.
Again, thank you so much for today, and
my pleasure.
Look forward to our next chat.
Me too. Take really good care of yourself. Be well.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello. Thank you for joining us virtually. It's quite marvelous and bizarre, but I'm really glad that we are here in the Aeolian Hall because it's one of my favorite spots on the planet. And hopefully the next time we play here, we'll be able to see all your shining faces, which would make me very happy. The sea, the sky, and you and I. The sea, the sky, and you and I, and you know, all blues, all shades, all hues, all blues. Some blues are sad, but some are glad, some are glad. Dark and sad or bright and glad, they're all blues. All blues, all shades, all hues, all blues. Our color, blues is more than just a color. It's a bit of strife, a note of pain, a touch of life. A sad refrain, blues is the living dues we're playing, oh my Lord. All blues, all shades, all hues, all blues. A song that's sung on a day that's fair. A touch of rain that's cried, a little bit of blues is there. The summer's new, it's true, it's all blue. All blues, all shades, all hues, all blue. na 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 na. You ba da 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 do you ba do ba da da da. Hey wa 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 ba 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 do ba ba baby. Do da 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 ya do ba mo ba 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 do ba 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 baby. Da 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 we ba ba yo baby baby do ba ba do da do ba ba ba. Do ba ba de ba ba be ba ba be ba be oh ba ba do da ba ba da wa 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 bo do ba do ga da 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 wa ba ba I bo 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 do ba ba the sea the sky and you and I the sea, the sky, and you and I, and you know, all blues, all shades, all hues, all blues, all blues, all shades, all hues, all blues, all blues, all shades, all hues, all blues. All right, I needed this. Oh, it's so good to play again. It's so good to play again. So this is a song about a dive. Now, I love fine dining, and I love upscale, fancy, schmancy joints. But you know what? There is something about a dive, like a real hole in the wall, and you got to know about it to be able to find it. Like that's fun. Not to mention, there's a lot of great music that's come out of that sort of place, like this, which was written by Ricky Lee Jones, and is one of my absolute favorite songs about a dive. Dun dun downstairs, the Danny's all-star joint. They got a jukebox that goes doit doit. The vice is nice, stays in the back all day, but when the nighttime comes, hey, they got a cat down there, make a bad kind of soup. I go round strutting my luck in my shoop coop. Cecil give me coffee, he don't ever take my coin and say, I got $30 in my pocket. What you do now, holler, come on Cecil, take $1. Say, come on Cecil, take a 10. Well, I finally get up and do a whole bunch of big ones. You're acting like I'm downshifting. You know all the underwriters on the boulevard, they got a barefoot cruise, and it's 40 weight hard. They look particularly deadbeat, permanently pale. Cecil picks up a butcher knife and waves it at the jail. The kid says, I ain't got no dough, man, I just want some OJ. And I said, hey, don't look at me, because he was looking my way. So Cecil wink upon him, some juice and some green, and the kid walks over, puts a quarter in the pinball machine. He says, come on Cecil, give me $1. Come on Cecil, give me 5. I'm in a halfway house on a one-way street. I'm a quarter past left alive. Yeah, don't bother that, don't bother, don't bother, don't bother, He can talk about people in a wonderful way. He can talk about people till your hair turns gray. Your sister's into mustard, she loves to walk the pop. She likes the pickles and the relish, and she never gets enough. You know, a Hershey milkshake steaming on a stick for a carte blanche sandwich. Oh, let us get thick. It's not because I'm dirty, it's not because I'm clean. It's not because I kiss the boys behind the magazines. I said, hey boys, how about a fight? Cause here come your baby and her girdle's on tight. You know, she don't know your name, but she knows what you got, from your matzo balls to your chicken in the pot. Chicken in the pot, chicken in the pot. Down, downstairs, the Danny's all joint. They got a jukebox that goes a doy, doy, doy. Finger snapping deluxe make your bebop bap and your R&B sugar go hip scat. Now, you can't break the rules till you know how to play the game. But if you just want a little fun, you can always mention my name. Keep your feet on the street, keep your toes in the lawn, but keep your business in your pocket, boy, cause that's where it belongs, you know. Come on, Cecil, take $1. Come on, Cecil, take a tip. Go do yourself a favor. If she offers it, take it, honey. Don't give it away if it ain't appreciated, you know. I don't want bop, bam, bop, bop, bop. Do wop, bop, bam. Do do ba baby, baby, they on bam, bam, bam. Dugga da do ba do ba bop, baby, bop, bam, bam, bop. Do wop, bop, bam, bop, bop. Do wop, bop, bam, bop, da da. Do wop, bop, bam, bop, bop. Do wop, bop, bam, bop, bow. Yeah. Oh, all right, this is just fun. Just to play again, right? We made it. So far, fingers crossed. Unless you're not superstitious, and then, well, whatever. So this next piece, right?
What is it?
It is a piece by Nora Jones.
That one. Okay.
That one. And it's pretty.
You ready?
I hope. Well, waited till I saw the sun. Don't know why I didn't come. Left you by the house of fun. I don't know why I didn't come. I don't know why I didn't come. When I saw the break of day, I wish that I could fly away. Instead of kneeling in the sand, catching teardrops, baby, in my hand. My heart is drenched in wine. You'll be on my mind forever. Out across the endless sea, I would die in ecstasy. Instead, I'll be this bag of bones, just driving down that road alone. My heart is drenched in wine. You'll be on my mind forever, yeah. My heart is drenched in wine. You'll be on my mind forever. Something has to make you run. Don't know why I didn't come. I'm feeling empty as a drum. I don't know why I didn't come. I don't know why I didn't come. Don't know why, don't know why I didn't come. I don't know why I didn't come.
I almost forgot how that
Me too. Me too. Oh. Okay. All right, this song, when did this arrangement start? Were we in like the interior of B?
The before times.
The before times. Were we in like BC?
Could be.
Could have been. Could have been. That whole tour is a bit of a blur. But I think we had a really good time, though. I think we had a really good tour. So this is a combination, and I like to call it our flock of blackbirds. Arranged by the one and only Kevin Barrett. Back up on my cares and woes, here I go swinging low. I say bye, 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 blackbird. Where somebody waits for me, sugar sweet, so is he. Bye, 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 blackbird. No one here can love or understand me. Oh, what hard luck stories they all hand me. I make my bed and light the light. I'll arrive late tonight. Blackbird, bye, 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 da, ba, da, 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 ba, 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 da, ga, do, da, do, ba, da, 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 dum, ba, da, ba, ba, da, dum, ba, 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 da, ba, da, dum, ba, ba, da, da, do, ba, da, 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 dum, da, 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 dum, da, 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 dum, da, ga, do, ba, da, 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 da. Cares and woes, here it goes swinging low. Bye, 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 blackbird. Where somebody waits for me, sugar sweet, and so, oh, is he? Bye, bye. No one here can love or understand me. Oh, what hard luck stories they all hand me. Make my bed and light the light. I will be home quite late tonight. Blackbird, 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 bye, bye, bye. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. I say all your life you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. Yeah. I sing black
blackbirds singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see, yeah. I say all your life you were only waiting for this moment to be free. I sing blackbird fly. I sing blackbird fly. Into the light of the dark black night. I say blackbird fly. I say blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. I say blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. I say all your life you were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting, baby, for this moment to arise. I needed that. I needed that. All righty. So, oh, yes. This is something, many of these pieces that we're playing tonight are actually off an album. Do they still call them albums? Yeah, do you? But you're old. You're so old. No. What's an album? An album, a CD, whatever. A project we did together. That's what the kids are calling it now, a project. A project we did together called She Sings, He Plays. That would be me singing, him playing. And you can, if you just, gotta have it, and, why not? You can go to boot camp. No. Band camp. Band camp. Sorry, boot camp's a whole nother thing. Band camp. Right, and search for the Kevin Barrett Group. Okay, and it's 2 R's and 2 T's, Kevin Barrett Group. And you will find us smiling. See? And you're going to think about this because I'm going to go get some water. Hold on.
Thank you. Tell me when I should start.
Okay, we're good.
Can I start?
Yes, please. problem is all inside your head, he said to me. The answer's easy if you face this logically. I'd like to help you in your struggle to be free. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. You know, it's really not my habit to intrude. Furthermore, I hope my meaning won't be lost or misconstrued, but I'll repeat myself just once at the risk of being crude. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. Must be 50 ways to leave your lover. Just slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. Don't need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. Don't need to discuss much. Just drop off your Keeley and get yourself free. Slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. Don't need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. Don't need to discuss much. Just drop off your Keeley and get yourself free. You know, it grieves me so to see you in such pain. Wish there was something I could say to you to make you smile again. And I said, I appreciate that. And would you please explain about those 50 ways? He said, why don't we both just sleep on it tonight? And I'm quite certain in the morning you'll begin to see the light. And then he kissed me. And I realized he probably was right. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. Must be 50 ways to leave your lover. Just slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. Don't need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. Don't need to discuss much. Just drop off your Keeley and get yourself free. Slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. Don't need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. Don't need to discuss much. Just drop off your Keeley and get yourself free. Grieves me so to see you in such pain. Wish there was something I could say to you to make you smile again. And I said, I really do appreciate that. Would you please explain about those 50 ways? He said, why don't we both just sleep on it tonight? And I'm quite certain, baby, in the morning you'll begin to see the light. Then he kissed me, and I realized he probably was right. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. Must be 50 ways to leave your lover. Just slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. Don't need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me, listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. Don't need to discuss much. Just drop off your Keeley and get yourself free. Slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. Don't need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. Don't need to discuss much. Just drop off your Keeley and get your sorry ass free.
song. I love all our songs. Like, this is the fun part. I am lucky this way. Okay, this is a great song. This is a song by, I think Gillian Welsh, and who's a great writer and a great performer, and about a life of crime, which, you know, I can wrap my head around that, you know, in limited quantities, you know. So this is somewhere in the Oklahoma Panhandle, and it's dusty and humid all at the same time, and it's another dive. Like, there's crushed peanuts on the floor from, I don't know, God only knows when, and there's a haze, and women are in old sundresses that have seen better days, and they're with guys who have also seen better days, and well, yeah. I got an old V8 from the year I was born. Don't look like much, just a flat black Ford, but the engine's clean. I could paint her someday, but most of the time I think I like her this way. Don't turn no heads, don't catch no eye. I'm just a wind on the road, I'm gonna pass you by. Well, I used to talk tough, and I used to get loud. I wanna paint my name all over this town, but folks lined up just to dog my day. And now if I stay quiet, they stay out of my way. Don't turn no heads, don't catch no eye. I'm just a wind on the road, I'm gonna pay. Cause it's a fat man's turn. He gonna share the wealth. Put your money in the bag, keep your hands in plain sight. Turn around, count to 10. I'll slip back into the night. Don't turn no heads, don't catch no eye. I'm just a wind on the road, I'm gonna pass you by. Don't call for help, don't scream, don't cry. I'm just a wind on the road, I'm gonna pass you by. I got an old V8 from the year I was born. Don't look like much, just a flat black Ford. I'm glad my father's never heard that song, because he'd go, where did you pick up that? How did you seem to, yes, he'd be very upset. He'd be very upset. You know, he's gotten over the fact I never went to law school, but, you know, the rest of it kind of makes him nervous sometimes. But it's okay. It's okay. Let's see here. I don't remember what's next.
Careful with that.
I know, it could go off. There will never be another you, but let me get some water first.
Please do.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm good. Thanks for asking. Hey, you're a good guy. There may be many other nights like this, and I'll be standing here with someone new. There may be other songs to sing, another fall, another spring, but there will never be another you. There may be other lips that I may kiss, and this won't thrill me like yours used to do. Oh, I may dream a million dreams, but how can they come true when there will never ever be another you? That don't get up, baby, but I don't buy a don't There may be many, many other nights like this, and I'll be standing here with someone new. There may be other songs to sing, another fall, another spring, but there will never be another you. There may be other lips that I may kiss, but this won't thrill me, darling, like yours used to do. But how can they come true when there will never ever be, there will never ever be, there will never ever be another you? That's just pretty. That's just pretty. Okay, so this next song is one of the most sophisticated hurtin' songs ever. There's two that really stand out. The song I'm about to sing and a song called Lush Life, which I'm not going to sing right now. I know, that was kind of a tease, wasn't it? That was mean. But this is a good song. This is a great song. This is a song about having your heart broken in New York City, basically. Or it would work in Paris. It would work, or in Rome.
So all about the season, not the location.
Well, but you need a park. You need a park, you know? And you've got to have that attitude, you know? There's this, I'm going to get through this and be beautifully accessorized at the same time through my tears. It's that kind of song, right? No?
maybe? I don't know. This is perfect. Spring this year has got me feeling like a horse that never left the post. I lie in my room, staring up at the ceiling. Spring can really hang you up the most. Morning's kiss wakes trees and flowers, and to them I'd like to make a toast. I walk in the park just to kill the lonely hours. Spring can really hang you up the most. All afternoon, the birds twitter twit. I know the tune. This is love, this is it. I've heard it before. I know the score, and I've decided that spring is a bore. Love seemed sure right around the new year. Now it's April. Love is just a ghost. Well, spring arrived on time, but what became of you, dear? Spring can really hang you up the most. Spring can really hang you up the most. Spring is here. There's no mistaking. Robins building nests from coast to coast. I let my heart sing so they don't hear it breaking. Spring can really hang you up the most. College boys are out there writing sonnets in their tender passions. They're engrossed, but me, I'm on the shelf with last year's Easter bonnets. spring can really hang you up the most. Love came my way, and I hoped it would last. We had our day, now it's all in the past. Spring came along, this season of song, full of sweet promise, but something went wrong. Doctors once prescribed a tonic, sulfur and molasses was the dose. It didn't help a bit. My situation's chronic. Spring can really hang you up the most. All alone, the party's over. Old Man Winter was a gracious host. But if you keep praying for snow to hide the clover, spring can really hang you up the most. No, my pleasure. But it does make me think of New York. It really does. I can't help it, you know. So I think it's time for something, you know, perky.
Perky.
Something Brazilian and perky, I'm thinking. This is just a little samba built upon a single note. Other notes are bound to follow, but the root is still that note. Now this new one is a consequence of the one we just went through, as I'm bound to be the unavoidable consequence of you. There's so many people who can talk and talk and talk and just say nothing. Well, really nothing. I have used up all the sense I know, then at the end I'll come to nothing. Well, really nothing. So I'll come back to my first note, as I must come back to you. I will pour into that one note all the love I feel for you. Anyone who wants a whole show, do re mi fa sol la ti do, he will find himself with no show. Better play the note. You know, 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 you know. Da 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 da. Yeah da 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 ba 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 da da do. Ba ya ba da ba is just a little samba played upon a single note. Other notes are bound to follow, but the root is still that note. Now this new one is a consequence of the one we just went through, as I'm bound to be the unavoidable consequence of you. There's so many people who can talk and talk and talk and just say nothing, well, nearly nothing. I have used up all the scale I know, and at the end I come to nothing, well, nearly nothing. So I come back to my first note, as I must come back to you. I will pour into that one note all the love I feel for you. Anyone who wants the whole show, do re mi fa sol la ti do, he will find himself with no show. Better play the notes you know. He will find himself with no show. Better play the notes you know. He will find himself with no show. Better play the notes you know. Yeah. But you didn't. But you didn't. So here's the sitch. We didn't do any monk. I don't know if we want to do any monk. This is a pretty good set. What do you
Yeah, I
think?
think it's okay, but you could toss it in if you like. You can ask the people, but there's nobody here.
But there's nobody here. Listen, before we do this last song, I just wanted to thank everybody at the Aeolian Hall, because they worked really hard to get the grants to do this, to bring people together, to keep music going all through the craziness, and that is important, because this place is important, and because live music is important. And I don't know about anybody else, but it's what got me through some of the craziness, right? And I want to thank Jason, and I want to thank Christoph, and of course, and I want to thank Matt, and I want to thank Clark, and I want to thank Brian, and I want to thank everybody, and also all of you who have subscribed, all of you who have kept this supported, and all of you who are listening tonight. I am truly grateful. I also want to thank my very dear friend who puts up with so much sorrows from me, my friend Kevin Barrett, who is one of my favorite human beings and is also one of my favorite guitar players. So it's a nice combination, right? I'm just going to get a glass of water, get a sip of water, and then we will play our last song. And I bid you all a good night, and stay safe and stay healthy.
This one's on the record, too. This one's on the record, too. You gotta remind
Oh, it is. This one's on the album, too. See, I said album. On Bandcamp, right, Bandcamp, and search for The Kevin Barrett Group. This is not implying that he has multiple personalities. It implies, no, forget it. We'll just, yeah, that's it.
Are you ready?
Hang on.
Well, you got some intro time.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good. Some loving, hey, yeah. Baby, I can't hold her much longer. It's getting stronger and stronger. I said when I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. I said sexual healing, baby, that's good for me. It makes me feel so fine. Helps relieve my mind. I said sexual healing, baby, that's good for me. Sexual healing, that's something that's good for me. Whenever blue teardrops are falling and my emotional stability is leaving me, there is something can do. I can get on the telephone, I can call you up, baby. Honey, I know you'll be there to relieve me. The love you give to me will relieve me. If you don't know the thing you're dealing, oh, I can tell you, darling, that it's sexual healing. I say, get up, get up, get up, get up, let's make love tonight. I say, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, cause you do it right. I say, baby, I got sick this morning. I see what's storming inside of me. Baby, I think I'm capsizing. The waves are rising and rising. I said when I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. I said sexual healing, baby, that's good for me. Makes me feel so fine. Helps relieve my mind. I said sexual healing, baby, that's good for me. I said sexual healing, that's something that's good for me, and it's good for me, and it's so good to be with my baby. Oh, whoa, 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 come on along, oh, and take control of my body and mind. Soon we'll be making it, honey. Oh, you're doing fine, you're my medicine. Open up and let me in, darling, you're so great. I can't wait for you to operate. Yeah, 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 yeah. I can't wait for you to operate, operate, operate. Come on, come on. The waves are rising and rising. I said when I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. Oh, when I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. I want sexual healing, baby, baby, 'cause I'm all alone. Sexual healing, darling, will you come back home? Please don't fascinate me. It's not good to masturbate too much. Sexual healing, baby. Sexual healing, baby. Yeah, baby, baby. Yeah, yeah, na 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 na. Hey, yeah, 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 na na na. People get ready, there's a train a-coming. Don't need no ticket, you just get on board. Don't need no baggage, children, for that holy roller. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. So I'm just waiting, waiting on the world to change. I'm just waiting, waiting on the world to change. Thank you. Thank you. Good night.